Welcome back. There are several different projects underway in 2024 across the city of Quincy. We thought we'd try and focus on at least three of them here with the Commissioner of Natural Resources today. Dave Murphy, you stopped by for another update. Good to see you, Dave.
Joe, good to see you. Thank you for having me back. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. It really is. I really enjoy talking about all the different projects that are underway. So I thought what we try and do today is focus on at least three. Expansion of the Pine Hill Cemetery over in West Quincy. The development of the Furnace Brook Golf Course, right, which is getting underway this year. And then hopefully we have time for, as well, some updates at the Mount Wollaston Cemetery, too. Yeah. You sent over some pictures of all three projects. We're going to try and show folks, but let's start with the Pine Hill Cemetery expansion project. How's it going?
It's going very well. So for those of your viewers that don't know what Pine Hill Cemetery is, it's located off of Willard Street, almost on the Braintree line. It's about 53 acres owned by the city. It's one of the most active of our 6 municipal cemeteries here in Quincy. So the city has been looking to expand burial space at Pine Hill for 25 plus years. The background on that is there is an endangered timber rattlesnake that is in the Blue Hills that sometimes summers, I guess, down in Pine Hill Cemetery. So we've gone through a very extensive permitting process with the Natural Heritage Department for the state to get to this point, and has allowed us to expand 7 acres of the 22 remaining acres for burial space and cremation niches, which are going to be brand new for Quincy residents. It's a much needed service. As someone who has lost loved ones over the course of the last couple of years, knowing that the proximity of where they're buried, particularly for some of our elderly residents, it makes it easier to visit and to grieve. It's a really important service. I don't think that people talk about or that we address that much, but Mayor Koch has really championed this cause for the better half of 2 decades to expand available burial space for Quincy residents, and that's what we're doing right now. Through the support of the Quincy City Council, who appropriated the $14+ million for the project, we're expanding the 7 acres. We're adding close to 13,000 interment spaces, which are about 7,000 burials, and 6,000 cremation niches, like I said, which we don't have in our existing cemeteries. That'll be a new service that we provide. And in addition to that, we're also doing enhancements to the existing cemetery. Mount Wollaston is one of the most beautiful places in the entire city. Pine Hill needs that shot in the arm. So we're doing curbs, we're doing roads, we're doing tree planting, we're doing landscaping, we're doing improvements to the veteran section. So the project's going very well. We're probably 75% of the way through it. You can see on the map here that there are 3 brand new sections that are at the what I would call the top of Pine Hill. It's really a beautiful location set back into the Blue Hills, a real serene, quiet place. Like I said, we've added close to 13,000 opportunities, which will probably buy us another 20, 30 years or so at our current rates of burial. We hope that in the meantime, in the next couple of decades, somebody else comes up with an additional solution so we can continue to provide this type of service.
Yeah, notably, I think what this does allow is pre-sales of these locations, right?
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Joe.
Yeah.
So historically, because of the shortage of burial space, immediate need is the way that the city has operated. Now with the new inventory of Pine Hill, Quincy residents can go up and meet with our cemetery staff and reserve a spot. So if they want to do some pre-planning, not have their loved ones worried about it in their time of grief, they can go up there and do all of the planning they need to find an interment location that they want to be buried.
Pick your spot, basically, right?
So
Let's bring up the next shot and tell folks what we're looking at here.
Yeah, so this is one of the signature locations. Is a beautiful pergola. This is actually at the top of Pine Hill, so you can oversee the entire cemetery from this particular location. These are some of the new cremation niches that will be built up the top of that hill, and a nice little meditation garden up there as well too. So, like I said, in addition to the practical reality of providing more burial space, I think the overall quality and dignity of the cemetery is being enhanced dramatically as well too.
Yeah. The niches, so they're in those walls that I see there?
Yes, yeah. We'll have a number of cremation walls, niches, totaling over about 6,000 opportunities. Now, we keep an eye on the marketplace, and we see that more and more people are looking for cremation niches. Now, we do bury cremation remains now. We have people that are cremated in all of our cemeteries, our modern cemeteries. But more and more people are looking for the cremation niches, so we're adding those to Pine Hill as part of this project. Maybe in the future, 20 years from now, someone will make a decision to add additional cremation walls at some of our existing cemeteries as space becomes more and more difficult. So,
Okay.
but this is a big first step to maximizing the available space that we do have to provide that service to residents.
Yeah, I think we have an actual photograph of the gathering space, or a chapel, I guess it is, or
So this building right here is actually the new office building,
Oh, the office
as you
building.
come in off of
Okay.
Willard Street. And we're very proud of this building. We think it's a really nice looking building with the arch windows. You have the eyebrow window up the top. And
reminded me of the library when I saw that.
yes, yeah. I mean, it is, a cemetery is a place of dignity and respect, and we want to make sure that the features that we have in there reflect that. You know, prior to this building being built, you'd pull into the Willard Street entrance and see the back end of the garage, which is far away from the goal that I just mentioned about making him a welcome place where people want to spend eternity. So,
Right, okay.
I do think some of the upgrades we've made from the new office building. There's going to be a new water feature, a new fountain feature as you come in the Chickatawbit entrance. So in addition to the expansion, I think the enhancement is equally important at Pine Hill as well, too.
Yeah, I mean, they're for the living, right? So,
Yes.
I mean,
Yep.
funerals and cemeteries
Right.
are for the living, yeah.
Yeah, we're also expanding the veteran section there as well, too, and putting irrigation in at the veteran section. You know, over the course of the last 20, 25 years, we've been fighting in multiple wars and multiple theaters, and the amount of veterans that we have that we anticipate will need a burial space in the next 20, 30, 40 years
Right.
is obviously going up. So we're projecting forward to say that we've got a lot of veterans from Quincy that will be looking for burial space. So we've also done a significant enhancement of the size of the veterans section
Okay.
at Pine Hill as well.
Very good. So 75% complete already, so what's the
Yes.
project going forward?
Yeah, we should be done substantially complete by the end of this year.
Okay.
The cremation walls will be the last piece of that, being done in the fall of this year. We're doing the roadway work, the curb work, the drainage work. The tree planting has already been done. One of the interesting pieces of this is we've done vaults, pre-buried vaults, which we've never done before as
Oh,
well.
yes, yeah.
That'll maximize the efficiency of the space that we have. It'll also make it, from an operational standpoint, much more efficient because we're not digging every time we have a burial. We just scrape off the top 2 feet, the vaults are already in place, and then we can set the caskets in the vaults
I
too.
see.
So operationally, I think we've done some upfront planning that's also going to be very helpful. It also reduced some costs for the Quincy residents looking for burial spaces too.
Okay, so concrete vaults? Or,
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So a person could still purchase a separate vault if they wanted to?
Correct, yeah, we do have an area that doesn't have the pre-installed
Okay.
vaults, and there are various reasons for that, but
Right.
we also have areas that we have some options too.
Interesting, okay. So will there be, I don't want to say ribbon cutting, but some kind of a ceremony to mark the
Yeah,
completion?
yeah, I believe that once we're done in the fall, the mayor is interested in doing something to, like I
dedication,
said, this has been
perhaps?
2 decades in the making.
Yeah, right.
Getting through the permitting and all the construction process, so I do think with the help of the cemetery board that we will be doing some type of ceremony there in the fall.
Okay. Seeing as we're on the topic of cemeteries, we should remind folks, get your decorations out of the city cemeteries, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yep, it's that time of year where we're getting back into the maintenance and the grass
Yep.
cutting and the weed whacking, and Memorial Day will be here before we know it.
Exactly, yeah.
And we've got a great crew and a great staff there. Mike Gibbons is our new general foreman over there. So any help we can get from our residents is greatly appreciated.
Sure, okay. Another project that's just getting going, really, is the Furnaceburg Golf Course project, right, up at Forbes Hill.
Yeah, much like Pine Hill, it was years in the making.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, Furnaceburg Golf Course is now controlled by the city of Quincy. It was a semi-private course that had a 50-year lease, and at the end of the 50 years, the city took it over in 2021. The facilities within the golf course were all aging out, from the irrigation system to the clubhouse. The clubhouse wasn't ADA, wasn't accessible. The mechanicals were all 20, 25 years old. We had an
There's
assessment
Forbes Hill
done.
Park folks are seeing now.
Yes, yeah, that's the beautiful Forbes Hill Tower that was built at the beginning of the 1900s, which was a water tower to service that area of Quincy, enclosed in granite. It's really a real masterpiece and a treasure for our city, which, in addition to the clubhouse project, we've got some park improvements planned, including renovations to the tower. But the golf course has been a success so far. We've been operating at an operational profit up there. And one of the reasons why we thought it important for the city to maintain and run the golf course is we want to open up the game of golf to populations that, you don't necessarily see at a golf course. Really open up access to folks that may not otherwise have an opportunity to golf.
Okay.
You look at certain courses are very expensive. We wanted to make it affordable. We wanted to have beginners clinics so people would feel comfortable going up there if they had never golfed before, and really open it up and expand our programming, our junior programming, our women programming, and really make it a total community facility,
Yeah,
and not
is it-
just what people's impression of a golf course was.
Members only kind of
Yeah,
thing, right?
yeah.
Is it 18 holes?
9 holes.
9 holes.
So it's 9 holes.
Okay.
Years ago, many years ago, before they developed the area across Furnace Brook, it was an 18-hole golf course. They sold off 9 and kept the 9 that are there
Interesting.
now.
Okay.
And it's a great location. It's a hilly tract, but we've got a great superintendent, a great golf pro, a great team up there keeping it in shape. We've been able to maintain most of the members that were there from the time that it was a semi-private course. We've added a bunch of new folks. We've had a number of community events up there, and right now it's a transitional stage. We're in construction right now, so the old clubhouse has been demolished. The new clubhouse is being built right now. It's just over 12,000 square feet.
Yes, we have some renderings of what it
great.
might look like to show folks.
Yeah, it's a good-looking building. It's
Yeah.
very practical. It's nothing elaborate or ornate. We're not trying to be Granite Links. We're trying to be the best Furnace Brook golf course that we can be, complement the neighborhood. We recognize that we're in a highly residential area.
Certainly, yeah.
So we're not trying to make this a destination where people from all over New England or the South Shore are going to come. We want to make it a community asset.
Is this the same footprint as the original clubhouse?
Essentially, it's
Okay.
it's very similar. There used to be a cart building and a clubhouse.
Yes, yeah.
The carts are now part of the clubhouse, so it's a little bit bigger than the original footprint of the building, but essentially in the same location. And I want to talk a little bit about the process to get to that point.
Okay.
So we've been in the planning stage for about 3 years now to get to this point. With some starts and stops on our design based on community feedback. We had a great community values workshop. We had over 120 people there offering their input. And not everybody wants the same thing. You've got a golf community, you've got a park community, you've got neighbors, and trying to weave all of those interests, sometimes conflicting interests, together to come up with the best project that you can has certainly been a challenge, but one that I think that we're pointed in the right direction right now. Now, I don't think everybody's going to be happy about every piece of these decisions that are made. There's got to be some give and some take on both sides, but that's what compromise is.
Right, yeah, I know that there's been some concern about losing some of the old growth trees, but really the net is going to be more trees than there are now, right?
Yeah, correct. And our original plans were far more aggressive as it relates to impacting the park. And when the community stepped forward and said, no, we really want to preserve this, we pivoted rather dramatically and went to a completely different plan with temporary facilities and putting the clubhouse in its existing location to get to this place. And I appreciate the public's input. I think we've got a better project as a result of everybody having a seat at the table.
Okay.
The park improvements will address additional tree placement. We've got about 30,000 set aside for tree placement. We've got $250,000 set aside for improvements to the tower. We've got renovations to the basketball court, renovations to the tennis court, enhancing the children's playground that is up there. The other pieces that aren't as sexy, if you will, as some of those other pieces are we're increasing water pressure up on Forbes Hill, at the top of the hill,
Okay.
without a loop system. So we're putting in a brand new loop system. We're dealing with all the stormwater problems that have existed up there for decades. We're dealing with some of the drainage issues. There were no catch basins in and around the golf course parking lot, so that water just sheeted down the Stony Brain Reservoir Road. We're addressing those issues. So there's a practical benefit to the neighborhood, whether you're a golfer or whether you use the park or not. So we think that this, in the end, will be a great community project. Obviously, construction creates inconveniences and impacts, but I think at the end of the day, this is a project that the city is going to be very proud of, just like many of the other projects the mayor's taken on around the city.
Sure, what's the schedule now for this project, Dave?
So we're anticipating completion of the clubhouse building in early _25, so
Okay.
around February or so. The park renovation should be done this year. I'd like to get those done this spring and
so
summer.
first the park, okay.
Yeah, the park is, I won't call it simple, but it's much more direct. The drainage work has to be done, the court improvements have to be done, the playground installation has to be done, and the tree planting likely in the fall. So
okay.
it'll be pieces to this. The tower improvements will be ongoing. I'm hoping this is just the first phase. I mean, the tower really is a unique historic feature in our city that I think we could do more with. I'm not talking about a restaurant or anything crazy like that.
Okay.
But I do think that whether it's repointing, repairing the roof, uplighting, maybe a flagpole on the top, really bringing more attention to it. It really is a signature historic piece in the city.
Yeah,
that,
there's a picture of there.
yeah, it's
Is there
gorgeous.
anything, so that basically encases an old water tower?
Yeah, there's an old steel tank water tower within the granite with
Okay.
staircase that goes around between the granite and the
Oh,
tank
really?
itself. Oh yeah, it's the staircase is not one that anyone should be on anymore.
Sketchy.
Yeah, I was up there about 25 years ago. The view from up there is the most breathtaking view I've ever seen.
I bet.
But getting up there is, we use booms and lifts now to do the roof inspection, the roof repair, so.
Okay.
And there's some communication equipment, obviously, that's still on the tower that we're looking to relocate as we do the renovations to
Who
the tower.
built the tower? Do you know what the history?
Yeah,
of it?
so this was the old predecessor to the MDC, the old Metropolitan Water
Oh,
Commission.
okay, all right.
And this whole park, Joe, if you've seen the historic pictures, was a reservoir. It was one big bowl with a promenade walking path around it. It was gorgeous. And I think when they built another water tower in another part of the city, this was deemed insignificant. So they shut down the water tower and they turned the property over to the city as a park. And it's been used periodically for T-ball in years past and soccer practices. Its primary use right now, quite frankly, is as a neighborhood dog park. A lot
I've
of the
seen
neighbors
dog
go
walkers up
and-
there. Yeah, matter of fact, when I was up there shooting that video, there were several.
Yes, yeah, they'll go up there and walk their
That's
dogs
the
and-
main purpose. Yeah.
We'd like to get more people to use the courts, but we've got to repair the courts. There's a chicken and an egg right now. The condition has
It
deteriorated.
looked pretty poor when I was there.
And
Yeah.
we've been looking to fix them, but
Okay.
as part of the comprehensive park plan, we didn't want to go in and fix the courts and then say, okay, now we want to fix the park.
Right,
So
okay.
there's a timing issue that everything's tied together.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. So will the golf club be closed, obviously, until the renovations?
No,
are completed?
we're
Oh, you're still
fully operational
you
the
are?
entire time. We have one of the changes that we made was we put in a temporary pro shop trailer when we made the plan to put the clubhouse in the exact footprint of the old clubhouse. So that was an effort to save as much of the park as we can. So we've made some pretty substantial concessions to preserve as much of the park as we possibly can.
Okay.
And, obviously, when we do that, the golfers, suffer on one side,
Yeah.
the park users, so we try to compromise and
Okay.
figure out where that middle ground is, and
All right.
we'll get there.
All right.
We'll get there.
Actually, I have a photo of a inside rendering of what it might look like
Great.
in the golf club, and wow, Dave.
Yeah, it's a beautiful design. Amenta Emma is the architect on the project. This is the kind of the main 19th hole dining room bar
Yeah.
as you walk in on the first floor. And it's nice. It's a beautiful open-air design with a lot of natural light, which I think will be great. So a few of the other pieces to this, which I think are important, which are new, there'll be 4 golf simulators in there, and that'll generate revenue out of this building year-round. So the golf course obviously is seasonal. But the simulators, we've seen the golf simulator business go through the roof, and putting in a golf simulator lounge in there will allow us to run winter leagues, allow us to do additional training. We talk about people who aren't comfortable on the golf course that
Yeah.
want to learn the game of golf. It's a great place to take a first couple lessons and learn how to swing the club.
Neat.
So I think the simulator piece is something that we didn't have in the old clubhouse that'll be a real enhancement, I think, for the clubhouse.
Yeah, I know it's real popular down Braintree at their municipal golf course
Yes,
there, so it
yeah.
draws a lot of attention. We have a sneak peek to show folks today of the new monument that'll be going up at Mount Wollaston Cemetery, right?
great.
Yeah, let's take a look at that and tell us what we're looking at, Dave, as soon as they bring that up. But in the meantime, there's a lot going on at Mount Wollaston Cemetery already at the C Street entrance.
There sure is.
Yeah.
So Mayor Koch, working with Jim Edwards, architect from Holmes and Edwards, has redesigned the front gate at Mount Wollaston. That used to be a very wide, really unsafe entrance where you could come in at 35 miles an hour on 2 wheels
Right.
into the cemetery, which is a bad combination. So they've narrowed the entrance on C Street, making it safer, and we're going to be installing a new cemetery gate. When the cemetery was first consecrated back in 1855, the old Briggs Gate was an old granite gate
Yeah.
that was there that was taken down through the years so that trucks could get in and out of it. It was undersized. And the original intention, I think, was to duplicate something like that, but we couldn't put the pieces back together. So we set out to design a brand new gate. And what that will do is, by narrowing the entrance, we're expanding the veteran section at Mount
Yes,
Wollaston,
which is where
which
this
will
will
allow
go,
for
right?
this.
What are we looking at, Dave?
Yeah, this is the new war memorial that will pay tribute to the men and women from Quincy that have served our country since the Gulf War to present day. We mentioned that the last 30 years or so, there have been a variety of wars and conflicts around the world in which Quincy residents have served in. Unfortunately, a number of folks have died during their service, one of which was actually killed in action. All of those folks will be memorialized on this stone as well, too. This is an iconic photo. That was the inspiration for this particular piece that will be cast in bronze and then surrounded by a beautiful granite frame. This is Bob Shore from Skylight Studios. He was selected through an RFQ process by a committee of the cemetery board about 3 years now. This has been quite a few years in the works. And this will be installed this fall, either October or November by the time it gets installed. But that the cemetery improvements have allowed the space for this to take place. Now, we all hope that this is the last war memorial that we ever have to build.
Right.
But I think it's overdue that we pay tribute to the folks that have served over the last 30 years.
We could go on for hours, but we can't. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the
Likewise.
opportunity
I appreciate
to get
it.
an update. And folks I know can reach out to you if they have questions, right?
Absolutely, yeah. They can call us in the office or reach us on the city website anytime.
Thanks again, Dave.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.